Okay, and we're live. It's 8 o'clock as promised on the dot. It's weird actually because I normally do these things on a Thursday, so it's normally kind of 3 minutes past 8 because we're doing a whole NHS kind of clap thing, but this is 8 o'clock on the dot. So thank you very much for joining us. And those of you who don't know me and thinking who's that bearded weirdie on the kind of screen, then my name is Matt Phillips, and I've been with the STA for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not sure, quite a few years now, and I've had the pleasure of knowing our guest tonight, Gary Benson, for that same period of time, if not more actually, pre-STA. And yeah, so we thought we're going to put together a nice weekly webcast for you, the STA members. That's the idea, because we figure that there's an awful lot going on at the moment, and a lot of things being put out for you to watch, but we want to make sure that you've actually got the facility to ask some questions and have them answered. So it's going to be very important tonight. Even if you haven't joined us live, I can see at the moment, Mark, how you doing? Even to you. If you are enjoying us live, feel free to send in questions, comments. If you click on that link, which I've been harping on about, then it does mean that your name and your photo will come up, which is always nice as well, because it's all part of networking, isn't it? Meeting other people in the group. If you haven't clicked that link, which is on the bottom of the post, then it will just come up Facebook user and it won't have your photo. So that's kind of, again, business. We'll be talking about business, I'm sure, in other episodes. You're wasting the opportunity now to get your name and your business up on screen forever on the beauty of video. So yeah, if you haven't clicked that link yet, make sure you do it. It's just because of the Facebook rules. It just takes you through to giving permission, and then come back and join us. So Timothy Big as well, how are you doing? If you're watching the recording, then you're welcome to still put comments in there, because we will be monitoring these and answering any questions you might have. And also, the big thing is, we want you to kind of decide what happens in a few weeks' time. We want to mold this 30 minutes according to what you feel helps you as a sports therapist. Sound like a good idea? Sound fair enough? We hope so. That said, tonight what we're going to do is, with great pleasure, we're going to bring Gary Benson, founder of the STA, the main man himself, up to first of all talk about a little bit of how you can help the STA help you. So a little bit of housekeeping, which sometimes is tricky. It trickles through so many posts and things. So it's going to be important you pay attention to what Gary says. But then we are going to give you an idea of things that we're doing which could help you. COVID-19 will probably form quite a lot of that because things have changed so much. But it's kind of an exciting time. I appreciate fully, I'm a working sports therapist as well. Not 100%, but I appreciate that for a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, what do I do? Can I start? Can I not? So if you've got any questions at all about that, how STA can support you, what we can put out as guidelines, then make sure you send those questions through. I think that's covered all the thing I needed to say. Yeah, I think so. So without further ado, because this is a 30-minute show, we're going to keep it punchy. I am going to bring up founder of the STA, and I think everyone who knows him will agree, wonderful all-round bloke, Gary Benson.
Hi. Yeah.
Hold on, let me take that off. Let me get rid of my solo. There he is. You're there.
Yeah. How you doing? Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, we have known each other for about a decade now, haven't we?
It is, isn't it? It is.
I think we were both in our 20s at the time.
That'll do. Yeah. Nice man. Nice man. This is why I still keep in contact with him.
I speak to about 20, 30 members most days, from the length and the breadth of the country. To be fair, a lot of the same questions are asked. But a really good point that was brought up in one of the discussions earlier this week, was that the STA is a sort of a multidiscipline association. We have soft tissue therapists at level 3, 4, 5. We have graduate members at levels 5, 6, 7, and even 8. We have sports therapists, sports rehabilitators, sports massage therapists, some sports physios, some osteopaths, some people of non-denomination. They prefer to be a facilitator rather than a titled being. And one of the things came out that the advice that we've given is basically aimed at the soft tissue therapists and not the graduate therapists. And I'm not willing at this stage to change that advice. I'm waiting until July the 4th when we see the phase 3 the relaxation of the social distancing guidelines. But we are working behind the scenes. We're in regular contact with people like Paul Medlicott from the SMA, Ollie Colburn from BASBAT, who's been really generous in sharing his information, his association's information, Mel Cash at ISRM, and Anna Maria. So, that we are working behind the scenes and collaborating on advice, and we've all agreed that we're going to, if you like, publish the GCMT advice. GCMT is the lead council for soft tissue therapists, and presently that covers all of our roles. I've had phone calls from the CSP members, I've had phone calls from osteopaths saying, what do I do? I've been reported by the police for doing face-to-face appointments. And I say, you've got to be guided by your own regulating body or a membership association. But it's apparent that they're not being supported. And ironically, STA as a smaller association is providing the necessary support, and we will continue to do so. An interesting point from a conversation today I had with somebody was that, we're putting all this stuff out on social media because it's instantly available. And also, I'm going to start following that up with emails, but the email communication system with Hotmail, Gmail, BT Internet, Yahoo, Blue Yonder even, I had one of those today, a blast from the past. Mm. The open rate for emails is anywhere between 40 and 50%. Hotmail, Gmail tend to go into the junk mail, so we have got a stay in touch button on the website. It's a little blue arrow on the right hand side at the bottom of the screen. It tells you what to do, but basically it's allowing me to communicate with you, the Gary, the admin at the STA email addresses, so that we can communicate. But the point I was going to make was that one of our members today said that if he receives it in an email, he deems it to be important. It's for him. It's addressed to him, so he will look at it. Whereas if it's on social media, he tends to think that there is an overexposure of information, and there's an awful lot of repeat information. My friend from the FHT says this, or my friend from BASBAT says that. So I am going to continue with the social media because that's where we communicate mainly with each other. But I am going to be developing the email communication system. So please, if you're not getting emails from us, we are sending reminder emails when you're close to expiry. Please follow the instructions on the website behind the stay in touch button. I spoke to Fiona Higgs, who's a member who I can call on, vast amount of knowledge. And we were having a chat the other day, and she pointed out that what I was thinking, really, that there's an awful lot of responsibility on my shoulders at the moment to make these decisions. And as we said earlier, Matt, when we were chatting, the STA was the first association to issue sort of strong guidance. It's not a competition. We are all in this together. It's slightly easy for the STA, being a smaller association, without a committee or a board of directors that, me and my advisors, if you like, will discuss these matters, and then I can put it out straight away. Whereas other people may have to go to a committee, a board of directors, or get approval. So that can add, a time scale to the advice. And although we're all in agreement, when we put it out, it's it comes out at different times. So what I've already spoken to a couple of people on Messenger. What I'm proposing, if you like, is any interested members, whether you're a student member, whether you're a sports massage therapist, a sports rehabilitator, whether you've got an MSc, a PhD, or just a level 3, if you've got something you feel passionate about the STA needs to do, then consider joining us on a sort of a steering group. It's embryonic at the moment, but I need your help. I'm on my own. in lockdown. I'm scouring the internet and the news for important updates, which not the government are issuing much clear direction at the moment. But if you have got a passion for the industry, you do want things to change, then the best way we can do it is as a group. So if you are at all interested in being part of a steering group and developing standards and looking at the education, then please get in touch, because I would appreciate your help and support. Finally,
sorry, Gary, would that be a Gary at the STA email, or who would it best send to?
Gary at the sta.co.uk. At the moment, just to put the STA sort of out there, is we've got Rachel, who is come on board to take over the social media streams. We've got Anna, who's populating the CPD resource centre with webinars, with research, and with article content, because we are providing free CPD for members, not just during this pandemic. It was something that we planned, but moving forwards, we want to be able to offer you bite-sized pieces of information that if your Tuesday at 12 o'clock doesn't turn up, you can log on and watch a 30-minute webinar, etc. And then just write a little statement on a Word document or similar, upload it to your Dropbox folder. That then starts your CPD statement, which we require from you at renewal. And then until recently, we had Summer, who took care of all of the admin. She left to join the RAF, and she's
so
just
selfish.
Yeah, very selfish. Yeah, she has come home now, and she's home for a few weeks. She's finished her basic training, and she's isolated in her bedroom. We're trying to socially distance within the house, but as we discussed before, Matt, she's come home for so she can have staff. Basically,
she needs a service
and things. But yeah, nice to have her back, and she is doing some of the admin, because I've been doing the majority of the emailing and membership admin myself at the moment, and it's not my forte really. I'm better phoning people up and discussing things with them, and that's why I try to speak to as many members as I can today. And usually if somebody emails with an inquiry, then I will probably ring them up rather than email with my sausage fingers and typing on the phone. And it's easier as well. An email conversation can take 3 or 4 days to conclude, whereas we can usually get things sorted in 5 or 10 minutes of chatting. But yeah, we are going to be putting some really good stuff. We've just been working with Ben Coomer of nutrition fame, and he's making his online portfolio of information available to our members. Anna's going to be populating the website with that soon. I'm just going to post a link in the comments to what is CPD. So on our website, we've got a new website, you may have noticed, the second column from the left, that's me, Facebook user, because I'm on a different machine there next to me. The second column from the left is the about. Now, it's a drop-down list, so you can find out all about the STA, about representation, governance. Yeah, thanks. That's the one, Matt. So it tells you all about CPD, what your obligation is. There's an example statement at the bottom. If you scroll down, it tells you how much you have to do. Now, I counted up today. We're waiting for CPD statements from 47 people who have renewed in April and May. This might be the communication email issue again, people not receiving our emails. So I beg you, please check your junk folder and make sure it's in there. Also today, we've spent several hours emailing an invitation to every member. We did some last week, we did some the week before, but we've done about 150 today, emailing a link to the STA member benefits group, where we're putting free to access content, and that's where all our members competitions will take place from now on. We are doing these chats in the open group so that we are available to the wider industry population, but the actual benefits will just go into the STA member benefits 2020 group. So if you're not in there, please check your junk mail. And if not, send me an email, gary@thesta.co.uk, or send me a friend request on Facebook. My profile is a picture of my late dad looking a little bit like Guy Martin, relaxing in a chair in a black and white picture. So send me a friend request and I can add you that way. So yeah, that's what we're up to at the moment. I mean, I haven't seen any question come through.
That's great. No, I mean, there's so much in that, and we knew the first session was going to be how, how can you help us help you, sort of thing. And it is tricky these days with so many emails. I've stopped sending out monthly emails from my website now because I know there's so much junk comes up. But unfortunately, it is a case where this is one of the emails that actually helps, and you need to make sure that you get it. There is a lot of stuff. And Gary, you do yourself discredit because you go above and beyond. I know it's a small outfit, and maybe that makes it, maybe the economies of having a small scale. But like with my students, they all signed up for STA, and they were all amazed. They all came to me. It was like the next class, and they said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Gary, the founder, actually did a video welcoming us all. And we all got messages and we all watched it. It was amazing." So it's not just, I mean, it was going above and beyond. And there's obviously, we're going to have so much bias coming out of my mouth for STA because that's why I'm here. I'm not going to have any criticism. But no, it's anyone who knows you knows that you do go above and beyond. Well, and it's not just a case of putting out information. You look at the information you're putting out, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think it is above and beyond. The reason I started the STA was because I was disappointed with the representation I got. I sent my check or my payment off every year, paid my insurance and got nothing in return. And it seemed to be how little can we do for our members, but how much can we charge them? And I thought, well, surely that's the wrong way around. So, when I started the STA, I put a bold statement out there, says I guarantee for 5 years to keep your membership and insurance prices below 100 quid. And we're still doing it, £48 a year for recurring membership and £50.86 for the Bailens insurance. But I think this is just normal. But I've had some very, very kind words of support from a lot of members who messaged me personally and thanked me for what I'm doing. But this is the level of service that I expect, and therefore that's what I'm going to give to you lot. I ring people up. Somebody joined and I was sat at my desk and the email came through saying such and such has joined, and hi Mark, I see Mark's just come on board. I rang them up literally within 5 minutes of them joining because I get all their information. Excuse me, that's not a COVID cough, that's dry throat. And they said, I can't believe that you're phoning me up. I said, why not? It said, well, I expected a generic email for the first week or so and then some contact. But yeah, I think it's important. And I get to know my members then, and putting my face on these kind of things here, it gets people to know me. I like to speak to the members. I like to find out what they're doing. I spoke to Ryan in Scotland today. I spoke to Monique. I've spoke to several new members. Incidentally, if you are a prospective member and you're looking to join and you haven't got a valid first aid certificate at the moment, then we've had to relax that obligation because nobody's delivering them. We are signposting people to Lupus Medical, who are putting some really good online free CPD out there. But generally, we are, for existing members as well, due to renew, we're not asking you to comply with the first aid obligation. We will pick that up later in the year when we start our audit process. Hi, Helen. Helen's just come on board.
Right. I've got a few questions coming now, which is fantastic. I've just got to remind you, I've got a few people coming up in the comments here who are just coming up as Facebook users. For example, I don't know who you are. Whoever said Blueies made me smile many times in the sandbox. I'll show you what we see. Here we go. Now, the reason why we're not seeing your face or who you are, and we want to see your face and who you are, is because you need to click on this link that I'm going to put up now. You only need to do it once. Once you've done it, it just gives our software permission to show your Facebook profile. So a little bit of admin for you. But if you click on this link, dun, 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 that link is in the description of this post, and I've put it a few times as reminders. Just do it once, and it just grants permission for the software I use to be able to show your photo. Because I want everyone to see each other, so you can then say, "Oh, I saw you in so-and-so." So if you see me putting up a comment and you've got Facebook user, you just need to be able to click on that link. Make sense? There we go. So I'm going to put it up anyway, because you've got a question here, Gary, which is a very good question, I think. Let's get rid of that. It's from a Facebook user, and we got this. I'll read it out just in case people are listening rather than watching. It says, I'm thinking of joining STA. Would it be better to wait until the lockdown is over?
That's from Geraldine Charleston. I've got her name on one of my.
Is she a friend of yours?
No, it's just I've got her on one of my screens, but not on the one that we're working on. So hi, Geraldine. It's entirely up to you. I mean, what I would say is that if you're if you value your money, then what I would say is until the end of May, we have got a pay what you can membership option where you send an email to me, Gary at thesta.co.uk, and I will reply with an automated sort of signature which tells you what to do, and you can choose to pay 25, 50 or 75% of the membership fee. You can also choose to pay 100%, and I'd like to thank those people who are renewing. As normal, we've offered all existing members a 3-month extension if they're due to renew at the moment. But a lot of them, when I'm ringing them up, are saying, "No, please, we appreciate the work that you're doing, so please, let's renew as normal." But one thing I did say to members is, when this all kicked off, members are saying, "Can I freeze my membership and can I freeze my insurance?" And I advised against that. Because your insurance is really important. Whilst you may not be practicing at the moment, you do have access to a unlimited legal helpline. So if you have any disputes with your clinic owner who's coercing you to go back to work against your best wishes, or you're against the guidance of the government and the World Health Organization, it might be appropriate that you need the legal helpline. So I would say, for the sake of 12 quid, which you would save by freezing your insurance, I would say keep it running. We're doing what we can to extend memberships. We extended them for 3 months initially. Those people who were renewed who were due to renew in March are now due to renew in June, and we appreciate you can't go back to work yet. So, if you feel strongly that you can't afford, you're in financial difficulties, then just send me an email, Gary at the STA, and I'll just put another month's extension on. But at the same time, at some time we are going to have to start charging for membership, because without membership fees we cease to exist. And I'm not alone. The other professional associations are reducing prices and adding extensions. We're all suffering. But if you want us here to support you and represent you next year, then unfortunately we do need your fees. And that's not mercenary, it's just the fact of life. We won't exist. We won't be able to go to meetings in London. We won't be able to pay our fees and our insurances and the things that you have to do.
There's also an awful lot of information. Again, you, Mr. Gary, I do myself injustice every time I open my mouth, Benson. But you do. You were the first person I saw who put information out about guidelines to opening up the clinic. You are on top of it. So, I mean, personally, I don't know, who is it? Geraldine, did you say? Who asked the question? Yeah. I think now is probably the time to join more than anything, because you can, from what I've seen, and obviously I'm biased, but you're going to get not just the information, but the quality information coming through as soon as possible, because it's a really difficult time. We've been given no guidelines as to whether you're allowed to open yet. It's kind of like, oh, we don't know. We don't want to give you a yes or no. So we've got some people who are, you've got this idea of if it's urgent medical care, then you're allowed to open up. Well, tell me, what does a chiropractor do, which is urgent, which is life-saving, which I don't know, but chiropractors are open, a lot of them I know. So, and a lot of physios are contemplating opening up again to give life-saving urgent medical care, which in some cases, if it's respiratory or something, well, then I can understand, but it's all very much being left up to you. And there are guidelines, and it's, to some stages, it's a bit of an ethical question, isn't it, Gary, as to whether we open up or not, whether you open up or not. Some people are saying, I don't want to be part of that. Some people are saying, I can do it if I follow the right guidelines. What's been your kind of belief?
I can't see my girlfriend. I can't see my mum. I can't see my 5 kids or my granddaughter unless it's one at a time in an open space, maintaining social distancing. Why would I want to go back into a clinic environment wearing the equivalent of a nuclear, biological, chemical warfare suit, to provide a treatment for somebody with a sore butt or a calf strain? It may be important and essential to them, but it's not for me. It's not a life or death situation unless I catch COVID. Then it might be. And I'm not willing to put myself at risk. And that's how I reconcile, and I've spoken on, I spoke a bit heartfelt a few weeks ago on Facebook Live, which was my first foray into these technological age, I suppose. And I said, I had weeks of sleepless nights. One night I didn't sleep for nearly a whole week, thinking, what gives me the right or the authority to tell hard-working practitioners, actually shut up shop, cut off your income. And and that was part of the responsibility I took. When I started the STA, that's part of the contract, I suppose, that I set myself. And the point you mentioned about the chiros and the osteos and the physios, what I'm seeing is a lack of strong leadership from the regulated professions. It is a big responsibility. It weighs heavily, but as I've said, it's part of the contract I signed for myself to provide up-to-date information, the best of my informed knowledge. And I am privy to some of the research in the early days that was guiding the government's advice, and it made interesting reading. And I think that the social distancing policy, and this is the extent of my political knowledge, apart from my taser policy, which I can explain at greater length in the future. We should be able to taser 3 people with impunity, and my list is growing. But I think that the government is exposing, is not giving clear advice, because we are exposing people to the virus in small numbers. And I went on record earlier saying that I hope the virus mutates and only infects the idiots.
Yeah, I know we'll cut in there because it's getting a little bit. This is the other side of Benson, which you don't want to hear. And BMW drivers and all sorts of things. Yeah.
There's a point from Matthew Scarsbrook, who you know well, Matt.
Oh, Matthew in the house. That's worth bringing up. Look at that.
Very articulate.
What's he saying? Matthew's great. We're definitely going to get Matthew on here for people, younger students, everyone. Matthew says, in case you're listening and not really watching the screen, that's a really good point. Acknowledging it's all spelled perfectly. That's the sort of level of intelligence Matthew's got. No text language. Acknowledging how clients may find issues urgent, but needing to be able to explain to them that it isn't, and that we can advise through other means than F2F. This is an episode, I think, which is one of the things. Remember, I want you guys to actually send us emails about what you'd like to appear, but I think we need a good 30-minute section on how you can stay in touch, how you need to really stay in touch with clients and make some money out of online consultations. There's so much you can do, because I understand. I mean, I'm lucky. I teach as well, so I'm not dependent on my clinic being open. So it's easier for me. But for people who have got 100% only income as clinic, there is stuff you can do to, 1, make some money now and keep things ticking over, and 2, make sure that when you are allowed to open up, you haven't lost all your clients. So we definitely need to have well, Matthew, now you're in the book, maybe we'll get you in some week to talk about that, online consultations and things, not to put you on the spot or anything.
It was good to watch Matthew's videos when, in the early days of the pandemic, he was messing around with videos out in the garden, and they were really good. They were really fun videos, and it just shows that you don't have to be an expert to. I'm not saying you're not an expert, Matthew, but you don't have to be an expert. People don't want a really well edited studio quality video. They want to see you, their therapist. They know you. They know idiosyncrasies, and they're happy to see you making the odd blooper, etc. There's another question from Geraldine, who's getting the money's worth tonight. Geraldine, I'm worried about PPE I may have to wear when I return to work, especially gloves. I can't work with gloves on. Do you guys know if they will be mandatory? Sorry if this is a silly question. No such thing as a silly question, Geraldine. We have issued the preparatory document from the GCNT, which we'll share again tomorrow, I think, about PPE. My question is around PPE is, if we're wearing gloves, we don't know how they react in different massage mediums, etc. We don't know how we will react if we're having to wear gloves all of the time. So I think it's a wait and see on that one. But for me personally, I won't be going back into clinic until I can wear my shorts, t-shirt, and my training shoes. And that's me. I overheat in shorts and t-shirts when I'm working. I don't want to be wearing masks and gloves and hats and gowns, etc.
Which makes me think of Trevor Burbick quite a lot, and his kind of, remember Trevor? His Hawaii kind of like flower wreath thing and just shorts. Yeah. It's a great question, Geraldine. Yeah, I mean, I know if you can, it's an easy answer, but if you can sit back, because there's lots of people who are going to be trying that, and let them make the mistakes. That sounds quite kind of like, but I mean, for example, I've got the chance of sending my kids back to school, but fortunately I can work remotely. My wife can work remotely, so I'm not going to send my kids back to school yet. Let everyone who needs to send the kids back to school do it, because one, it'll make it easier for them to actually integrate and the school to look after them. There's plenty of people who have to send their kids back. But if you don't need to work yet, if your finance doesn't depend on it, you've got other things coming in or you can take over, then don't rush to it. It's all, we don't know any of the answers. Like Gary says, we don't know how any of these precautions are going to take place. We don't know if there's going to be a second peak. So I've always said to people, if you can sit back and wait, then do it, because, you'll learn so much. If you can't, then yeah, great, stick around, because, STA is sending through guidelines and all the up-to-date information. But it's tricky. I mean, Gary has quite safely made his views known, which is good. Gary, I don't sit on the fence, Benson. But for another episode, I think we will have 30 minutes on going back to work. And I'd like to get, if there's someone out there who is an STA member who has decided they are going back and they believe they've put into practice some fantastic measures to do it, and we could do that 1 week. Things like clients waiting outside, seating distances, payment at reception, all these things you got to think about. Then I'd like to chat to someone about that, and then have people ask them questions about what about. That's something we could do. But like I say, if you've got anything you'd like to see in there, I think it's really relevant. It's a great question, Geraldine. Like Gary says, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Everyone wants to answer that. We've got an answer from Matthew here. Thanks, guys. They certainly weren't well-polished videos. We'll get back onto them. Matthew, that's not an answer to, are you going to come on and talk about consultations? That was my question, just in case you missed that. I need an answer in the next 2 minutes. Fantastic. Well, look, that's 30 minutes already. I want to try and keep these close to 30 minutes, because that will encourage people to bam, ask questions. We're going to try and do this every week. So if it goes over 30 minutes, it's like people lose track and start having other responsibilities and stuff. I'm going to give you 2 minutes now to ask any other questions you want to from our guest and founder, Gary. So if you've got any other questions you want to, but remember, if you think of something later on, then just pop it in the comments. Oh, there you go. Matthew said yes. So in a few weeks' time, we will have Matthew in to talk about online consultations.
There's a point from Sharon Headley, who I inadvertently missed from the introduction earlier on. Sharon heads up our event teams. Virtually unemployed this year, though, Sharon, because we've cancelled them all, haven't we? Sorry about that. But yeah, she does a tremendous job coordinating the therapists for all of the events that we do for the OSB branded Outlaw triathlon events and some other smaller events as well. So thanks again for doing that for us, Sharon. She put on there, it's not just what you wear, it's disposing of it. And that's a question, a point that's not been raised. I watched the update today with the health secretary saying he was ordering 3.7 billion pairs of gloves, 3 billion aprons and masks, etc. Where's all this stuff going to go? At the end of this, are we going to put it in landfill? It's not recyclable, is it? So that's another great point, Sharon. And this is another thing that, I'll be going back when I wear my shorts and my t-shirt. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Emma.
I didn't see Sharon. Did you get Sharon showing up? I haven't got Sharon's comment at all, which is weird.
On one of them she is, but on the other one not. So Emma Wardle, I won't be going back until at least get the get-go from you guys. I have purchased lots for my clinic for when I can return. I can give you a list of them, and I've also written up clinic guidelines for return that I will be think will be as COVID safe as possible, subject to chopping and changing. Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, Emma, because we do have a file sharing on the closed member benefits group. There is a file section where you can get copies of your logo, the terms and conditions for your insurance policy. But if anybody's got, a consultation form they want to share with members, or they want to get their feedback, we had Catherine last week put something on the sports injury fix, and I said, why don't you put it on the on the STA group, and she got some great feedback from that. So we are all here to help each other. I don't mind if you use that for highlighting your Facebook page or your Instagram account. well, let's get on and mutually like and share each other's information, and let's be a community. I don't want any member to feel isolated. It doesn't matter if you're from Scotland or Ireland or Wales or Cornwall, or we've got Gibraltar, we've got New Zealand, we've got Canada. Everybody's part of the STA, and I regard you as my friends, not just members. So, I'm willing to chat to all of you about this, about anything really, anything industry related. Matt's come back on. Mike Grice has come back on. I'll just do this one first. Mike is writing procedures this week for a podiatrist to go back next week. He'll post it when it's done. So thanks for that, Mike. Matt's come back in the hospitals. Their PP is going into an incinerator, which means we will need to do what? Use specialist disposal as well. I mean, that incurs another cost. Can't just use residential waste for the virus, because of the risk of contamination. Geraldine, sorry, my pic didn't come up. I clicked the link. Don't know what happened. Thanks for answering my queries. Well, you're welcome.
Technical things.
Yeah,
it's just a weird Facebook chain. They've all changed the rules a while back. So maybe if you click the link, and maybe you have to log out and go back in again. But if everyone just clicks that link, so next week, because I really want. I mean, it's lovely already. It's lovely that people are showing up. I mean, I even saw a little thing. Someone I've got a lot of time for. Oh, Keith was in there. Where is he? Keith Burnett. Big Keith. Big Keith. Where was he? I saw a little question somewhere.
Keith was a regional rep for the Leicestershire area for a number of years, and he's moving. He's taken up a post, a university lecturer's post at Wolverhampton, I believe. So he'll be going over there. And I did mention that my daughter's going to Cosford to continue her training. So if I go over there to see her and take a care package full of chocolates and biscuits and things that she requires every 10 days, then I'll meet up with Keith for coffee, because he's a really, really great therapist.
A lot of information. Very experienced,
and his doctorate work on neck injuries is amazing. So hopefully Keith will go and put some of that up on the blog site again for you. Anything you've got to publish, let us know.
Yeah. And Keith, if there's anything in particular you feel that would help the members, then I know you've got so much experience, then it'd be great to have you on as a guest at some point in the future as well, to chat about something you think would be useful. You know our members really well, being a regional representative in that. So in fact, all regional representatives, one idea I had, if there's one thing I think would be useful to have regional representatives, if you fancy coming on the camera the same as Gary has, then and you want to talk about something in particular, just your life experiences in your region, what assistance you can give other people in the area, blah, 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 then do feel free to send either Gary an email or me an email. I'm Matt at the sta.co.uk as well, so you can contact me. We're coming to the end. Gary, go on.
Just one thing, Matt. On the work that the regional reps do is, I've never been prescriptive. It's always been about, do what you can. Alex, who's on the south coast near you, he held a network meeting just as this was all going to kick off. So what I am going to ask people to do is to start organising some network meetings. And now we're all familiar with these online platforms. This is an ideal opportunity, and I might think about hosting some myself. Keith's answered saying it would be his pleasure. So I'd really like to get Keith on to discuss where he is with his rugby stuff at the moment, because our therapists would like to know that. I mean, it's up-to-date research. But anybody interested in a regional representative's role, drop me a line, Gary at the sta.co.uk, and I'll have a chat with you, because we do want more regional representatives. It comes with free membership and other perks. But it's about getting the STA message out there that we are here, we are supportive, we do have local points of contact, and we are here to help and make you feel less isolated, because that's one of the things I hear when we qualify. We go out, we collect our degree, our diploma, our certificate, our award, we go into our clinic, and we don't hear from our training provider or our university or college anymore. We are here to help you with your business, your marketing, anything you want really industry related. And we've got some great regional reps out there doing great stuff at the moment. I'm not embarrassed by naming them all. But yeah, Tim, I've seen your message. That would be great. Hi, Nicola. Yeah, Yeah, okay, you click the link, but it's not working for you, I'm afraid. And yet it is on one of my screens and not on the other, so I don't know what it is.
We'll work that out. I think it
Yeah,
depends on if you're hit. It depends how you're getting in here. If you're going via the Belive TV stream or one of the things I've put out, then maybe you need to do it because you need to give Belive TV permission. The safest thing is everyone just hit it before next Tuesday. Talking of next Tuesday, because I wasn't sure, I wanted to get someone booked. So next Tuesday, we're going to talk about, let's just change that screen. Some of you may know or not know Jack Chu, who is a super experienced physio, but he is also at the forefront of trying to help us learn from each other, different professions. So he's going to come along as a guest. He's got an event on Therapy Live, which a lot of you might have seen already, considering there's been about 11,000 sign-ups. It's free. I'm a speaker on it, but that's not the only reason I'm talking about. There's another 60 or so speakers. It's going to be a great free event. We're going to also in future obviously be talking about CPD and the CPD which STA can help you along with. It's a big topic. But yeah, next week we're talking about merging professional boundaries, something which I still get, and I think all therapists probably get, like imposter syndrome. How many sports therapists within 5 weeks are thinking I need to be a physio or I need to be a podiatrist? So we're going to talk about why that happens, whether it should happen, and hopefully give a lot of you, particularly younger therapists, confidence in being a sports therapist and realizing that what you do is actually quite incredible. And there's good and bad in all sorts of professions. So do try and make sure you stick 8 p.m. on Tuesdays in your diaries at the moment. There will be another link going out to set a reminder. I think they're quite useful. But that's going to be next Tuesday, same time. So yeah, try and join us for that. If like I say, if there's any subjects you'd like to see discussed, this show is for you. Gary's giving you loads of things and ways which we can hopefully help you and things you can do to help us help you. But if there's any other topics you want to hear about or even get involved in, then do let us know, dropping myself or Gary a line. Gary, thanks for being our guest on this opening inaugural Let's Talk About. Did you see what I did with the title there? Did you like that? Let's Talk About the STA.
Yeah, it's good.
Just came to me one day. But yeah, Gary, closing statement from you.
Yeah, I think these, when we discussed this a few weeks ago, Matt, I think these are the way forward for the STA. It's all right to send an email or to post something on social media, but when people can see you talking, and I think it's very useful to get messages across. And you know, the messages that I'm comments that I'm reading here are thanking us for that. So it's great. If I may just add on Jack Chu for next week, I'll definitely be tuning in because Jack's a great guy. I've known him for a number of years, and we've had some frank discussions. And what I like about Jack is an articulate, extremely well educated man. Is also from Manchester, so he's blessed with telling it like it is. So you get the best of both worlds, you know, and he doesn't suffer fools gladly. You know, he says it as it is, and he's doing a lot of good work behind the scenes to break down those professional barriers and titles, and he calls it tribalism. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, Matt. Great to chat to you as always. Before we go, will you just give us an update on the Run Chat Live? That is it or isn't happening later this year? Because I attended.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It was a fantastic event. There were some great people there. I met some STA members there who I'd not met before, but there were some great speakers. So yeah, is it happening?
So yeah, I don't want to use this to big myself up, but or what I'm kind of selling. But one of the few things I do make money out of once a year, yes, the Run Chat Live conference is actually on, and just go to my feed, Run Chat Live, anywhere on whatever social media you want. It is, well, we're hoping that if it goes forward, then there'll be a face-to-face conference like last year. There's 10 great speakers. It's all over my social media, so you can see who the speakers are. It's obviously to do with running and looking after runners, but I encourage therapists and runners themselves and coaches and personal trainers to be in the same room. Because one of the things about my Run Chat Live podcast is I want therapists to be able to talk the same language and runners to be able to have the same information. So it kind of makes it easier. Tickets are on sale now at rcl2020.eventbrite.co.uk. If there is a second peak or something and the real face-to-face conference in Brighton on the 29th and 30th of October can't happen, then the whole thing will be translated to a virtual conference with the same 10 speakers, with the same 2 90-minute Q&As. Obviously, it'll just be virtual, which I don't really want to do because I'm Run Chat Live, not Run Chat online conference. But if needs be, then fine. So you can go and buy a ticket now. There are early bird tickets there. If you know you can't make those dates, then and you want to get an early bird virtual, then they're on for sale as well. But yeah, it's really exciting. It's a great crack. We had STA down last year, which is fantastic. And a lot of the same crew this year, just 10 new speakers, apart from one Welsh man called Mike James, who I'm sure will get on the show as well. But the other 9 are fantastic. A great massage therapist from St. Louis in the States, Alice Savieto, is going to come over, who I really am keen for you guys to hear. And if you're into running, then Matt Fitzgerald, also who's a fantastic runner from California, is coming over to do a speak as well. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. We already have 10 minutes, but thanks, Gary, for reminding me. This isn't about me, though.
You didn't mention your mum's catering, which was absolutely fantastic. And
we were talking about that today. She might not be able to be there in person because she's like 70 odd, but she promises she will make them, and I'll get Craig, who's my good friend, to pick them up and deliver them. But yeah, there will be catering by Penny next to this year as well. Yeah,
and just remember, same as last year, the STA are willing to fund 3 members to attend. So we'll, a little bit closer to the time, we'll be running some members prize draw competition, so you can get a place down there courtesy of the STA and Matt. So great, really enjoyed chatting, Matt. So thanks.
Right, that was 45 minutes. Maybe they'll have to be 45 minutes. Maybe I was thinking 30 minutes. Well, let us know as well. I want to mold this. The beautiful thing is it's moldable. So if you want 30 minutes, 45 minutes, that's okay. I can ask my wife for another 45 minutes of not looking after my children. That's fine. Just give me advance warning. Fine. Right, guys, thank you so much for your comments. And I hope you can all come back next week. Spread the word, especially spread it with people who maybe don't know about the STA or don't know me. So the discussions are filled with some new life. That's what we want to try and encourage as well. It's a networking opportunity for everyone. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop looking at comments because I want to show you all here. But anyway, that's fine. We're out. Gary, thank you so much for giving me the possibility to put this together with your help, and Anna and Rachel. And yeah, we'll be back same place, same time next Tuesday. Yeah. Right. Take care all. We'll see you soon.
Bye.